Representative Lucio to speak against the amendment.
Mr. Speaker, members, this will in all likelihood be the last time I address this body. It's been an amazing privilege to serve with you over these last 15, 16 years, and I just wanted to convey that. Some of my colleagues that came in 2007, few are left, but a few of you are here, Tan, and a few others. But let me say, members, one day you will also make a decision, and I hope it's not during a redistricting year, to say goodbye and move on, to do other things. And you want, in some form or fashion, to leave a legacy. And I'll tell you, in the last decade since redistricting, the Cameron County, or Cameron County, I should say, has done phenomenally well. We have a spaceport. We're launching rockets into space. We have a tremendous inland port and seaport that's bringing goods into the United States, into Texas. Our education system has improved. Our hospitals have improved. And it's been under the current structure where we have 2 seats rooted in Cameron County.
Members, please take your conversations outside the rail.
Thank you, members. Again, the last time in 16 years you'll hear from me and never hear from me again on this House floor. So I would really appreciate your attention. You know, Representative Lozano comes and he wants to convey to you his interest in Cameron County. And since the 10 years since he's no longer represented Cameron County, I have not seen him in Cameron County. I have not seen him at our chamber events. I have not seen him at our ribbon cuttings. I have not seen him in celebrating UTRGV or all the other great milestones that the Rio Grande Valley and Cameron County has achieved. So he comes before you today talking about his interest in Harlingen, where I have not seen him in over a decade. What I will tell you is that Harlingen and Brownsville are well represented. This is not minor tweaks like some of you have had to negotiate with your districts. This is entirely removing a seat out of Cameron County, one of the most fastest growing, most in need districts in all counties in all of our state of Texas. This is very disingenuous. Like he said, it was filed 10 minutes before the deadline to file amendments for this floor. This can't be for the greater good. This is a disingenuous last-minute attempt to do a grab. I want to leave this body with my head held high, my relationships intact, and the future of my community taken care of. And this amendment puts that in jeopardy. We've done some good work today. I'm proud of my Harris County delegation, biggest delegation in the state of Texas, got it done. So what I am asking you is to let our delegation agree. And by the way, Representative Lozano is not a member of the Rio Grande Valley delegation. So I ask you to please let our delegation speak its mind and vote no on this amendment.
The chair recognizes Representative Dominguez to speak against the amendment.
So on 9/11, the mayor of Harlingen asked if I could go to witness their 9/11 memorial celebration. I don't represent Harlingen, but I went because they asked. In 2 weeks, the Harlingen Chamber of Commerce invited myself, amongst other Valley members, to go to one of their gala events. They know that I don't represent Harlingen, but they know the Valley delegation does. Because we're such a compact region, you know, we're about 1.5 million in South Texas. We have to look out for each other. You know, we're separated by King Ranch, so we're used to doing things together. And that's why when the Valley delegation was talking about redistricting, we all collaborated. You know, when Chairman Canales was preparing his amendment, he asked us to take a look at it. It was, yeah, absolutely. We're happy to help out. We didn't know about this at all. At all. And I think that surprise is not in line with the history of the House, especially when it comes to this. So what we saw earlier today when an amendment was offered to change things in Brazoria County, we thought, hey, you know what? You're not from Brazoria County. You didn't talk to the people in Brazoria County. Leave it alone. And that's all I'm asking for here. In good faith, if we hadn't known about this until today, then maybe not enough people have been involved in this process, and I think as a matter of principle, we should vote against this amendment. I'm happy to sit down and talk about this. We still have this time tomorrow if there's some real pressing need. But I have yet to hear from people from Harlingen saying that they are not well represented. And I'll tell you, because we are pretty tight-knit in the Valley, you'll see that we go to each other's events all the time. We support each other's colleges, their universities, their high schools, because we take care of each other to make sure that the Valley gets as much as it can out of its state leaders, their agencies, their public officials. And I would tell you that the people in the Valley, the members from the Valley, work hard for every single constituent, regardless of who they vote for in the November elections or in the school board elections or the mayoral elections. We fight for each other all the time, and we'll continue to do so. I'm just asking for your support here to just please vote no on this. It was a complete shock to us, and we think that's not in line with the history and the traditions of this House. Thank you.
Mr. Speaker.
Mr. Anchia, for what purpose?
Will the gentleman yield for just a few questions?
Will the gentleman yield for questions?
Yes.
Thank you.
The gentleman yields.
So just to reiterate, this amendment was filed at the last minute as an amendment to the amendment. No members of the Valley delegation were consulted by the author. The author of the amendment is not a member of the Valley delegation. Essentially, this amendment cannibalizes a seat, moves it out of Cameron County for no compelling government interest. Is all of that correct?
That is correct.
And was there any sort of population disparity that required a district to be exported out of Cameron County?
Not at all. Based on what we're required to have, even before the bill drafted by the overall bill author, District 37, which is the southernmost district in the entire state, my district, could have gotten its additional population by moving slightly west. District 38, Representative Lucio's district, wholly contained within Cameron County, could also obtain its additional population by just moving slightly west, and still allowed for the residue population to help District 35. There was no need for us to even go out of Cameron County. Cameron County can contain us all completely. Now, the way this is drawn, instead of having 2 seats solidly in Cameron County, now it'll only have 1. This is a county of nearly 500,000 people, and it's only going to have 1 wholly contained state district.
So the people in Cameron County will essentially lose representation because they will be packed into 1 district, and then the remaining district is exported out of the county into more rural counties to the north. Is that right?
And the westernmost part of Hidalgo County.
And so the communities of interest that were contained in Representative Lucio's district and your district now will be compacted, and the sort of the outer ring of the county is moved out so that Cameron County will no longer have influence in 2 districts. It might have some influence, or it will have influence in 1 district and possibly partial influence in another.
That's correct.
Okay, thank you.
Yes, sir.
The chair recognizes Mr. Lozano to close on the amendment.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker and members. I do want to point something out that's been said that's incorrect. Cameron County still has 2 House seats under this map, 37 and 38. Currently, 35 is by a representative from Hidalgo County. That has not changed. That has not changed at all. And an important thing I want to point out is that when there's questions made about whether or not I have been in Cameron County, my family have been taxpayers of Cameron County since the 80s. My father has been the medical director of a medical service company in Willacy County since 1985. I spent every weekend as a child in Port Isabel and in South Padre Island eventually.
Mr. Speaker,
Mr. Lucio, for
will
what
the
purpose?
gentleman yield?
Will the gentleman yield for
Yes, sir.
questions?
So you mentioned earlier.
In a little bit. Just let me finish.
Not at this time.
Yes, sir. And so, 2011, my very first session in the legislature, I represented TSTC, and one of the things that I did and I was very proud of is to work with Governor Perry to start with the Valley delegation, the merger, and creating UTRGV. I was on an airplane with Governor Perry flying to TSTC in Harlingen for a groundbreaking when we were discussing this. I'll never forget that. UTRGV is a brilliant university that is part of the fastest growing part in the state. Now, Cameron County is one of the poorest, if not still the poorest counties in the entire state of Texas, in the entire country. And I would never try to remove a representative, and the maps clearly show that there are still 2 representatives from Cameron County. They add Willacy, which has been there before, and 35, which is from Hidalgo, getting into Cameron County and now part of Brownsville under this map. That has not changed. I am not touching the Hidalgo part of the map. All I'm doing is swapping basically, to make it a little simpler, Harlingen for West Brownsville and some rural area in Cameron County. That's it. And it makes 37 competitive. It allows 37 to pick up Willacy County, just like the way it was before, with those communities of interest. I yield.